Okay, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Welcome to StrongPoint. My name is Sasha Gadzik. I'm a customer success consultant here, and my colleague Brian Vera is on the line as well, and he is also a customer success consultant. So this webinar is the first in a series of webinars where we present to you the StrongPoint tool in terms of documentation and change management and compliance. First, we're going to start with a quick overview of what we're going to cover today. Then we're going to pass the baton to Brian, who's going to lead us through a live demo of the StrongPoint tool. And then we'll regroup and talk about what we've covered today. And then I'll open the floor to any questions that any of you might have. StrongPoint is in the business of making your life easier, documenting all of your customizations in your environment, helping you to implement intelligent change management processes that make sense for your business, and meeting compliance obligations. StrongPoint helps you to automate all of it to take the stress out of your daily lives. Today, we're going to be focusing on that first part, the stress-free documentation. And what do we mean by that? Well, we automatically and constantly document every single customization in your Salesforce environment, all of your metadata, every custom field, workflow, validation rule, user profile, report, anything and everything. StrongPoint even takes this a step further and identifies all of those links between those objects, which objects rely on one another, the joins between customizations, helping you to answer that age-old question, if I change this, what's going to break? And again, all of this is automated. This automated documentation is done quickly and easily and shows you what customizations are no longer needed and can be safely purged from your environment. This helps to make your cleanup and optimization a breeze as well. I'm now going to pass the presentation over to Brian, who's going to lead you through the live demo itself.
Okay, thank you, Sasha. I'd like to talk to you about automated documentation, as Sasha aptly mentioned. We start off by deploying our scanner into our package into your environment. Once we deploy it into your environment, it will then start querying the Salesforce server and collecting your customizations. We scan them, and then we create individual customization detail records for each and every customization. We are tracking across all the 120 Salesforce types. And it is prudent for me to mention at this point that the StrongPoint application is a 100% native application within Salesforce. There's no middleware or backend that's used, so all your data is safe in the Salesforce cloud from end to end. So once we collect the data from our scanners, we create individual records for each and every customization. So we create documentation for your validation rules, for your custom objects, custom fields, sharing rules, delegate groups, even the obscure types like static resources and documents. And we are tracking across all Salesforce clouds like Community Cloud, Service Cloud. We're able to track and create documentation for all of those things, and as well show you dependencies between those objects in the different clouds. So this is how it comes together. Once we collect your documentation, we then map those documentations to other core dependencies and other customizations that have relationships to those customizations. So what you're seeing here is the account object. So I have the account object here, and as you can see on the account object, these are the custom fields that are underneath the account object. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click one of them, and then we're going to be able to see the dependencies and relationships between the different objects. So let's click on this one. Okay. And as you can see, on this one, I picked a multi-pick list from the account object. As you can see, there is some reports here, which is a list view. There's a list view here, and a couple of layouts, as well as an extended type, which is a report type. So this helps you answer the question, if I change this, what will it break? So as we can see here, if I was to change anything from the pick list value, it would impact this particular list view premium customers, which might be of high use to the organization as it's a visibility to their premium customers. Let's go to something else that's slightly more dangerous. So I've picked the custom field. It's a data type custom field, and it's called discount field. And as we can see, there are a couple of dependent scripts that are dependent on this particular customization. We've got a trigger, we've got an Apex class. So if we were to change something about this particular customization, we might impact these scripts. We might impact these reports. Let's say this revenue report is being used by the CFO. That might be impacted, and the CFO and other business teams that use this might not be able to get a lot of value from the report. As we go down, we see more impacts that the documentation has created. So we can see some layouts that have been used. So this is not only about configuration changes and things that could could impact configuration changes, but real material risk as well. So by having your system completely documented and all the dependencies and relationships visible to you, you are able to see where there might be an actual material risk. For example, here we've got layouts, and so you might have a couple of record types that are using these layouts. And if you change something and the layout is no longer functioning, or it's deleted or anything like that, then we won't be able to use those particular record types, and that could represent significant material risk. As we go down here, we see some downstream impact in terms of a couple of workflows and approval processes that might be impacted if we were to change something here. Now, a surprising use case that we found from our customers is that they're also using this entity diagram to actually bring up their new reports up to speed. Because in the Salesforce industry, there's now a lot of turnover, all right? It is now the number seven most in-demand skill in the entire world. So by having their reports go to different objects and click them around and stuff like that, they get to have a quicker understanding of how their Salesforce environment is built up. So let's take a quick look at some of the customization detail records to see how they would look like and the level of details that you'll be able to see. So we're opening a customization detail record here. So as we can see here, these are the type of levels that we create. This is the type of information we create for you when we customize and document your entire instance. So we're looking at the custom field here called discount code. So here we show you what the name of the customization is. We show you who created that customization. We show you what the API name is. We show you who last modified it, as well as the Salesforce type. And here you can actually see the Salesforce ID. We show you the custom object, whether it's active and whether it's owner active. And I'm just going to go here below and take a look at some of the tabs and glean some of the detailed information that we might be able to learn about this customization. So as we can see, the customization is linked to two scripts, an Apex trigger and Apex class. We can see that it's also linked to some reports here and a list view. And when we go here, we can see that there are some layouts that it's linked to and it's supporting. In the improvement tab, we can actually go to our customizations, individual customizations, and add further documentation on them. So for example, on this custom code, in this custom field, we've added a status that this needs to be cleaned up, so we can actually add more statuses as we come across them. So let's say it needed to be deleted or something like that, or it needs to be archived. We can extend our documentation and add this. We can actually add the policy it supports, and we can also put in our own cleanup classification. These tabs show the workflows that this customization is linked to, as well as data sources. Now, on roles, let's say you wanted only this custom field to be used by a selected group of users, and you had created a custom permission. The permission would be named here, and all the users that are related will be populated here, giving you a quick visibility of your permission sets that are connected to your customizations and who the users are in one place. This is done for you quickly and automatically on a daily basis by our scanners. Here we are showing you a tab wherein you can actually add controls. For example, if this customization is a highly valid customization, then customization, for example, it's like a financial report, and we are trying to make sure that we put it under scrutiny. In our customization detail records here, we can assign a control so that if anybody who's not approved tries to change tries to change the data in it, it will actually send a 5-alarm fire type of alarm to the people who are assigned to this customization. So we put it in a greater level of rigor. And here we can actually see the raw data, the XML code that makes up this customization. And if it's part of a package, the package will be listed here, and this shows as the extended type. Also, automatically, whenever a change is initiated, whether it's a user-generated change, whether it's a system update or a platform change logs are created for each customization. So if you change your customization 3 or 4 times, it will be listed here. And here you can also add attachments and notes about this particular customization. And you'd also have visibility of how the customization history itself. Okay, so we're going to compare and contrast by looking at other customizations. So we looked at the customization of a custom field. Let's take a quick look at another one for a workflow rule. So I'm going to open the customization detail record for a workflow rule. All right, so we can see similar details to the one we looked at the custom field one. So we can see the customization name, we can see the API name, who created it, who has modified it, as well as the Salesforce type. If we go underneath these tabs, we can see the metadata strings. If the scripts are attached to it, we can see it. And if we go to the actual workflow, we can actually see how this workflow was created. So automatically, StrongPoint shows you the relationships to and the conditions that help create this workflow. So as we look here, we can see these are the conditions that this workflow is operating underneath. We can actually see the workflow and approval fields that it's using. And here, if we go to actions, we can actually see the time-dependent actions that we've actually scheduled for this workflow. So in this case, this workflow is outputting to a task when the conditions are met, and the schedule is every 3 days. And below here, we can actually see the change logs, and we have full visibility of the change logs as they are changing, as the customization is changing over time. We're going to go back to the ERD diagram. And so what I want to demo here is that as your customization become more complex, more and more complex, sometimes you lose the line of sight to the customization as they become complex and more things are added. But our entity diagram is able to show you and give you further line of sight to where your customization ends and where they impact other things. So here we have the discount code. As you can see, we've got a script that is part of this customization. So if we click the script, it opens up and it shows us where this customization is also being used, other dependencies that are in that string. So as we can see, we have some reports that might be referencing a field that is in the script. We've got sources here that this Apex class is using, and also it's related to the approval process here. So as you click more and more into the fields, you actually see more details um, of your customization. Now we're going to show you very quickly another tool. It's called the Finder tool. So Salesforce is one of those tools that is heavily customized. You might have 10,000 customizations. We've actually seen one of our customers actually has 75,000 plus customization. So when it's in a situation like that, it's very hard to find customization. So this tool, the Finder tool, actually found the customization just by putting a keyword or part of the API name. So here I'm going to put this word discount, and then I'm going to find it. I'm going to click find, and StrongPoint is actually going to find that particular customization. So here we've got powerful filters. So I'm just going to remove the date filter, and I'm going to remove the name filter. And we're going to look for customizations that have the word discount. So let's click find. So StrongPoint has gone through the entire API database, name database, and found a couple of customizations that they have the word discount as direct matches. Let's also include dependencies. We can also include components from packages if we wish, but for now we're just going to include dependencies. So once we include dependency and click find, we're able to see actually even more information about that customization. We can actually see permission sets, triggers, Apex classes, workflow rules, and layouts that are being used by this particular customization. Okay, and then we can filter it down by actual name, and we can put in a date filter. So let's look for customization in June, after the 13th, that was created by Brian, and let's click find. And StrongPoint is going to find those particular customizations. And then if we remove the dependencies and we click find, we are actually able to see only 2 things that were created by Brian. So this helps you find customizations that your users created. You can filter it by username or by just by the keyword or by date filters as well, and you can find those customizations easily. Now we're going to close off by taking a look at some of the cleanup tools that we can use as part of the documentation. So I'm going to look at custom fields, for example, and use custom fields. So we tracked the documentation by date last use, and in here we can actually show customizations that have not been used for a very long time. So here I'm showing some unused fields, and I can actually go and filter it down to a specific date, and I'm going to look for customizations that haven't been used for the past 6 months. So I'm going to go from, I'll say from here, and we'll go to June, and then we run the report, and then we're able to find customizations that haven't been used. And then we're able to actually put a cleanup classification on them, and we're able to then remove those customizations, delete them, or do whatever we need to do. So at this point, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to pass the back to Sasha for closing comments or any questions.
Thank you. Okay, so to recap, what did we learn today? We covered 3 key areas. The first being how to document all of the customizations in your Salesforce environment by next week. With essentially half an hour of your time and a few business days behind the scenes, you can have automatic stress-free system documentation at your fingertips. All of this will happen behind the scenes. It'll happen on a continuous automated basis with very little upfront time investment on your part. How to proactively avoid disruption by knowing all dependencies of your customizations. Being able to see what the interdependencies, where those interdependencies exist between all of your objects, so you know immediately what's going to be impacted downstream if you make a change to something. Knowing beforehand so you can plan instead of having to investigate and clean up afterwards. So it's invaluable to be able to see what's going to be affected before you actually affect it. So you can make sure that nothing's going to break. It always takes a lot longer and costs a lot more stress and resources to clean up a mess than to prevent one. And finally, how to clean and optimize your account with confidence. The ability to know what customizations are redundant and can be removed without risking damage to the rest of your environment is absolutely invaluable. You never have to worry about removing an old customization without knowing what damage it might cause. We have a lot of clients who use this to clean up their environments, to identify those customizations that are just hanging around that don't really impact anything and they're clogging up the system, so that you can basically enact intelligent cleanup processes. So if you've enjoyed this webinar, please join us for our next 2 sessions this month, where we'll go further down the path to intelligent change management and meeting compliance requirements. Alternatively, you can visit us at strongpoint.io/blog-home, where you could register for the webinars, or also just find more information on us. And we're always here to help. Every organization is going to have unique needs. All of you on the line are going to have your own unique situations, unique requirements, unique challenges. So we always recommend that we book some time together one-on-one to discuss your organizational challenges and to basically talk about how StrongPoint can help to address them. Just an open conversation about what your pain points are, what's keeping you up at night, and how StrongPoint can help to give you a sound night of sleep. Now we're going to go over some questions. I'm just going to go into the question bar here. Can this scan historic customization information? No, unfortunately. This is only for going forward. We have clients who ask us, when the best time is to install StrongPoint in their environment, and our answer is always as soon as possible. The sooner you get it installed, the more use you'll get in terms of intelligent pre-deployment validation and looking at where those customizations are mapping out. But the next best time to install it is right now. So, okay. Question, do we only scan custom objects, or do we scan and document standard objects as well? StrongPoint scans everything. It doesn't matter what's in your environment. If it's there, we're going to scan it and create those joins between all of those objects. So that's part of the power of this documentation tool. We show you every single item in your environment, and more importantly, what's dependent on it and what it depends on. So whether it's a standard object like accounts or a custom field or a workflow, you'll be able to see that customization with all of the information that Brian showed you earlier, with all the tabs in the record, and again, you'll have access to all that information. Okay, and we have one more question here. Does your app use an outside server to relay information between environments like a middleware? No, as mentioned earlier, StrongPoint is fully native in Salesforce. Your information does not leave your environment. It doesn't leave your instance of Salesforce at all. We install into Salesforce and call the server directly. So your information stays safe, it's secure, and uses minimal, our tool uses minimal resources. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. That brings our webinar to a close. Again, please visit us at our website to register for the next webinar and contact us with any questions you might have. Thank you.